5-minute murder. Sorry, guys, that it is definitely late this week. I had a little bit of dental surgery a few days ago on Friday, and so talking has not been my strong suit for the last couple days. So I figured I would wait until the weekend was over so that I could get it done. Maybe I should have probably done it early, but I didn't think of that beforehand. So here we are. It's Sunday. We're going to do a little 5-minute murder. I'm going to select a card and we're going to go from there. So, all right. So today we got old John Dillinger. So, Dillinger was born on June 22nd, 1903. He was killed on July 22nd, 1934. So just a month after his birthday. You know, of course, 31 years later. But he was a gangster and leader of the Dillinger gang, which was accused of robbing 24 banks and 4 police stations. He was imprisoned several times but escaped twice. He was charged and not convicted of murdering a police officer who shot him in his bulletproof vest during a shootout. After evading police in 4 states for almost a year, he was wounded and went to his father's home to mend. He returned to Chicago in 1934 and sought refuge in a brothel owned by Anna Campanis. She informed authorities of his whereabouts, and on July 22, 1934, agents moved to arrest him. He drew a gun while attempting to flee, but he was killed. So, Dillinger is an infamous criminal in, American history, right? He was, very early on, along with like Bonnie and Clyde and, Machine Gun Kelly and all of these people that were, during that time of the bank robber, right? And so he was one of them. He was also affiliated with the mafia. I'm trying to think of what his name was. I can't think of his name, but we did an episode on Murder Metal Mayhem about one of his counterparts. I don't know why I can't think of his name right now. I should have looked it up earlier. See, this is when you know that this is off the cuff, right? Because I can't always remember all the names. But anyway, we did an episode. I was on the episode, but one of the guys that he ran with from time to time, he was a stone cold killer. And it's interesting that Dillinger ended up getting all of the accolades and all of the press because the other guy was actually the one that was going around really killing everybody. And Dillinger, not quite as much. Of course, Dillinger was no saint. He was, robbed 24 banks, escaped from jail several times. There is an account of Dillinger escaping from jail with a wooden gun, right? So, just crazy stories. Back when you could back your pickup truck to the back of the jail and, put some chains on the bars of the wall and pull down the whole wall and, all the prisoners escaped. It was back in those days, which are very, very different from, where we are now and as far as prison breakouts and stuff. It was a crazy time in history to live. There were lots and lots of criminals running around doing whatever they wanted, and it was very difficult for the police to catch them, which is the reason why there was so much crime back then. There was so much organized crime, right? These guys were going out and robbing things, and it's just amazing. Dillinger was one of those guys, as you can see in his picture there. He was always dressed to the nines, right? He was always wearing a suit with a nice tie, his hair slicked back, almost kind of movie star-esque, right? This guy, John Dillinger, and he has gone down in the annals of crime history, in true crime. He's one of those figures that really speaks to a lot of people, especially when you look at history of gangsters. One of my favorite things, and of course, I've always loved the mafia, right? That's was always my focus when I was a kid, mainly because I had so many family members that were affiliated in one way or another, and I just kind of grew up in that culture. I was not around a lot of people that were around a lot of the American gangsters and the bank robbers, not a lot of people that I knew that were into like Jesse James, and that's even further back now, Old West. But all of those people, Bonnie and Clyde, were not something that I studied a whole bunch, but all part of true crime, right? One of the things that I think is a misconception is that we look at true crime as just serial killers, but it is all crime, right? All of the gangsters, all of the cult leaders, all of the, people that go out there and commit crime are all true crimes. And so we need to look at that. And of course, within Killers, a Card Game, we really open that up to allow all that in there so that you could get an accurate picture of criminals. Because there are a lot of them. They do all kinds of things. Of course, Killers is about criminals that killed, but there are lots and lots of types of crime, not just murder. So true crime goes all the way to I shoplifted at the grocery store today. Might not be a big crime, but it is a true crime. So it's always fascinating to me what we understand. Just like it's really interesting. I was just having a conversation today about the 186, 89 bodies that they found in Colorado at that place that was doing they were supposed to be composting the bodies, and instead they were just like leaving them there, stealing the money and, going on vacations and stuff. That is true crime. They didn't murder anybody, but they surely disrespected all of the corpses and disrespected all of the families because they didn't do what they said that they were going to do. And they were giving them like concrete dust instead of their family's ashes. And of course, that case is still going through the legal process, but it is crazy. I am going to be astonished to find out what they find at the end of that. But that is all encompassed in true crime. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in for another 5-Minute Murder, and I will talk to you next time. Have you ever wanted to be a detective to investigate the crime scene and catch the criminal? Well, welcome to Death, New Mexico, a town just off the famous Route 666. A pretty quiet town until recently. There have been a string of murders. In the social deduction game, The Profiler, you have 60 minutes to investigate the crime scene, interrogate your witnesses, and determine who the killer is and what kind of killer they are to win. What will happen when you become the Profiler?